I'm glad if anyone is watching this, whether it's the live stream or the video after, and you were responsible for the idea of the Kingdom Cup this month, like kudos to you. That is so good for Game of Thrones fans. When I saw that, I was just like, yes. And my wife's like, what? I'm like, it's Game of Thrones themed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be awesome.
Okay.
But, if I win my tournament tomorrow, I'll
Yeah.
have like a intro where I'm winning.
Yeah.
If I lose my tournament tomorrow, I'll have an intro where I'm like getting slayed and
Yeah.
a clip from Game of Thrones. Right?
Yeah.
I expect a letter. A lot of really tough competition.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
anyways, you want to talk about the Kingdom Cup?
Yeah.
Kingdom Cup meta article that the Game Press.
Oh,
I think
absolutely.
there's a lot of really great content. Obviously, the Self Arena Reddit I think is really great.
Yep.
PvP Discord's been really great, and Game Press has really built a really systematic article.
Yeah, their meta simplified like series. Like I wait for this to come out. I'm just like, come on. Like each day I check Twitter and I'm just like, come on. What magic you guys got this month? And when I see it, because we're diving into the second we hear what cup it is, we're all diving into what's going to be good, what's not, how this meta works out. But when they come out with this just beautiful like one-stop shop of like, this is what I need kind of thing, it's just awesome to see. So I guess just talking about it, a lot of people obviously have discussions on what they should take instead of this. If they don't have this, what should they take, kind of thing. What are some maybe like top 3 or maybe top 2 like lock-ins, like 100% lock-ins?
Well, I think the meta, starts with Lucario, right?
Yeah.
It's really, to be honest, like I know Lucario has its challenges of obtaining.
Yeah.
The candy is like it's like 25 candy is second move as a baby and 50 candy to evolve in like one power up. So it's not like the most candy restrictive. It is difficult to get. I think someone did like a Reddit article. It's like 138 eggs hatch or whatever, right? But hopefully you can find people that are generous enough to trade you one, or if you're able to hatch one that's going to fall below. I think the meta really, really starts there.
Yeah.
I think that
100% agree.
In my opinion, like almost if you want to be competitive in tournament, there's like almost no way avoiding not having Lucario.
Yeah,
because Lucario, you see someone that doesn't have Lucario in the team, certainly you can win. Without it, but it'd be much more challenging than it can sweep an entire
and I 100% agree with that. I think Lucario in this tournament, I know a lot of people like, I don't have one yet, and like you said, you can still win without him, but it's like you really are pressed against your heels if you don't have him as that threat on your team. Because as we see with the graph, right, he covers Bastiodon, Melmetal, he covers Lapercilio, but what the graph doesn't tell you is that he can kill everyone else.
Exactly.
Like
Shadow Ball.
Like he can.
It's like a crazy move, right? Like,
yeah.
Yeah, that's it. It can, if you play intelligently or you have energy advantage or whatnot. Like, there's no Pokemon that if it has an energy advantage and like no shields, then Lucario can't be. So
yeah, 100%. Because there should be arrows flying out of Lucario onto every single wild card, every single Pokemon here. It's like no shields. Oh look, Shadow Ball kills Blaziken. Shadow Ball kills Alolan Marowak and stuff like that. So yeah, I think since Lucario is the #1 pick, I think the second lock-in has to be a protector of Lucario. Like, you gotta have Bastiodon, or you gotta have Lapras, or you gotta have Steelix. You need a protector in order to let Lucario actually fulfill his role.
Yeah, exactly. You want a safe switch in or safe switch, like you got to protect your Lucario. And if you play it right, obviously you can sweep a team.
Yeah.
And then I think on the other side of that, is that you need a counter for Lucario, right?
Yeah.
Because like I think that's something that everyone's gonna, most people are gonna bring a Lucario.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to bring a counter to that, and there's there's a few different counters that are available.
Yeah.
Obviously, Altaria is one.
Yeah.
Charizard, Blaziken are certainly ones. My personal favorite is Charizard.
Yeah.
Because I think it is the hardest counter, and I think Dragon Claw gives it a lot of flexibility against counters to Dragon Claw gives it counters to other dragons that people are like probably going to switch into if you
Yeah.
switch into Charizard, and then Blast Burn hits for really great neutral damage.
Oh, absolutely.
Against a
Yeah.
Celio because ice typing makes it neutral, and then even Bastion like Blast Burn's going to like take a huge chunk out.
Yeah, like at least a third or more. Yeah.
Yeah. And like with the degree, obviously when you look at someone's team, I think it's really important when you look at the team of 6
mm-hmm.
and they have a bad matchup, you can kind of more or less predict what they're going to switch into.
Yeah.
Either they're going to switch into a neutral Lucario matchup or to their Lucario counter. So I think you can play that to your advantage because like if Lucario is squishy and if it takes too many fire spins, like you definitely lost a good chunk of it.
Yeah, and 100% agree there. You need the shield and you need the counter. And Game Press's article like emphasized that really well with the theme of like the sword, the shield, and the flyer. So that's and if you guys haven't seen that article, definitely go check them out. I actually don't have a link down in the description, but I'm sure you guys will be able to. Someone can maybe link it in the different chats, so you guys can kind of have a read up on that because it's definitely worth having a read. So I agree with you. I love Charizard. Like he's such a hard. It's like Venomoth, but with charge move, or not to the extent that Venomoth was against Toxicroak, but that same kind of mentality of like if a Charizard comes into Lucario, you're like, oh crap, I gotta get out of here, or I gotta sacrifice and try to get a Shadow Ball off and try to maybe fake him out with that. But then his charge moves, like you said, completely cover tons of Pokemon and can do a lot of neutral damage. I also like Altaria as well, so I like running like the double flyer, so I'll have Altaria and Charizard in there. Mainly Altaria to also check that Blaziken.
For sure. Altaria is an amazing Pokemon.
Yeah, it's
Dragon
just
Breath,
like,
Attack, and Dragon Pulse like gives a lot of really great coverage in this meta. And there's like in this meta there's a little bit more because of the steel typing, but like even against Lapras, like you're still gonna take a huge chunk of damage from Altaria, especially if they're running Water Gun. If they're running a Water Gun variant, then Altaria is gonna do a lot of damage to it. If they're running an Ice Shard or a Frost version, it's a little bit different. But it certainly can do a lot of damage.
Yeah. So what do you think? Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, because I know a lot of people, right? It's all about saving Stardust. So then people might be wanting to reuse Skarmory because they used them in Boulder Cup. So what are your thoughts as on Skarmory as it comes to the Kingdom Cup?
Yeah, Skarmory could certainly play the role of like one of the flyers, like as a Lucario counter. I do think its viability is not as wide as Charizard or Altaria, but certainly viable as an option and something that are going to throw some people off for sure. If you run a Skarmory.
So
but
it is.
I don't see it like I see it's like definitely a step below other flyers, the Charizard and Altaria, but it's still certainly viable, and obviously it wrecks Blaziken, right? Because Blaziken with its fighting and no coverage like Lucario does, it's gonna wreck it. But the issue is that, and actually let me just run this analysis quickly because I'm pretty sure someone told me that if you run Lucario versus Skarmory, okay, maybe not. Yeah, if you end up shielding,
Yeah.
Then Lucario ends up winning. And like pretty much any like no shields.
Yeah.
When you're on late game situation, Skarmory's gonna beat Lucario, but one shield or two shield, like a lead potential or like middle of the match,
Yeah.
like Lucario is gonna win, and
Yeah.
it's gonna win, and had already done 2 power up punches, so its counters have like
Just
been boosted by 50%. Right,
yeah.
so it's a little bit of a dangerous play.
Yeah.
It does have some checks against Altaria, Blaziken, whatnot, but
Mhm.
it's certainly not as strong a counter against Lucario as as Charizard or Altaria.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree with that cuz it's
But yeah,
yeah.
in my opinion, you should be Altaria is a pretty safe investment.
Yeah.
In open Great League or anytime flying or dragon is going to
Yeah.
be in the meta, it's going to be
It's
it's
gonna be
most likely
there.
going to be well,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah. So what about? Because I love a lot of the wild card picks. Like
yes.
I have a few of the meta, but oh, I love wild card picks, and I don't know how much of the battles because I know we are all busy, right? You got full time jobs, we're creating content, all this stuff, so we don't get to watch as
Yeah.
much as we want to. But from people who've seen my videos, I love Steelix. Like I'm ride to
Yeah.
die Steelix user.
Yeah, yeah, nice.
Because I just think he, because I don't have a Bastiodon, right? I do have a Bastiodon. I got traded one from my Tempest Cup tournament, and what was kind of funny is his name was Gengar Life, and he was really excited to battle against me, and he ended up beating me. But then he wanted to trade me the Bastiodon, so I traded him one of my legacy Gengars that I had from back, like way back in the day, like 2016.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it was close enough for Great League. So I was hoping to give him a Legacy Gengar so that he could get a lucky Legacy Gengar for Great League, and then I get a lucky Bastiodon because it's 2016.
Yeah.
They didn't go lucky, and then his got to 1505 CP. So
Oh,
it was like I felt so bad because
yeah.
but it's just so I don't have a Bastiodon, and I won't be able to use one for this tournament because I have 6 candy for him and no Stardust. So Steelix is like my alternative Bastiodon because he kind of fulfills the same role of covering flyers, but then I like how he also covers Bastiodon and then the mind games that come with Crunch and Earthquake, especially if you charge up not only beyond Crunch but beyond Earthquake. If you're in a favorable matchup where you don't have to really burn something fast, you can do double Crunch or you could do an Earthquake and then a quick Crunch right after. There's like so many mind games you can play with people and they don't know what to shield and what not to shield.
Yeah, for sure. I think Felix is again, I think a really safe investment, to be honest. Like
Yeah.
across the meta, obviously we've seen it in multiple cups at this point in time. I
Yeah.
think this in like kind of like the slight off meta perspective, or like as a counter to the meta. But I
Yeah.
think Felix is a really good alternative to Bastion and covers those flyers, which you have to worry about. You do have to worry about Charizard
You
still,
do. Yeah.
which is the main concern that you have. But obviously, if you're running Lapras as an alternative, right,
Yeah.
then they have to worry about like if they're running a Charizard, they have to worry about are they gonna run, you know, the Steelix shield, or are they gonna run the Lapras shield, or both,
Yeah, or
right?
both. Yeah.
And something to and running both is like a little dangerous because then if you're running a Lucario as well, then
Yeah, and if you
have
get stuck, then that's just that's GG. So
yeah, for sure.
what's one of your wild card picks?
I like Dragonair. So a lot of people are asking why I'm running Dragonair
Yeah.
as opposed to Altaria.
Yeah.
And people are right that Dragonair does lose to Altaria. Like Altaria is the king of the dragon in Great League, and anytime that it's relevant, it beats Flygon, beats Dragonair, beats Dragonite, beats all their dragons. But the reason I like Dragonair
Yeah.
is I think it's more flexible in matchups against where Altaria would get stuck. So like against Bastion, like Altaria can basically do nothing against Dragonair. And then against Steelix, it has that Aqua Tail, so it's going to serve some flexibility against this Pokemon. And then no quad weakness, 2 Ice.
2 Ice,
And then I run Aqua Tail Dragon Pulse. Some people had a really long discussion in one of my chats. They prefer Aqua Tail Wrap, but I think I prefer Aqua Tail Dragon Pulse because, like, if I'm gonna go down, I want to either hit them really hard with a Dragon Pulse, right?
Yeah.
And if they shield or they don't shield, I'm gonna feign anyways, right?
Yeah.
So like, one of the two options versus like coming that like middle ground option of just hitting for neutral Wrap.
Yeah.
I've like certainly caught a one-shot people off guard when I run Dragonair versus Altaria, and then one-shot their
one-shot the Altaria. Yes.
Or they switch into Lapras, and they think it's Wrap, and I do Dragon Pulse, and I
there goes 2/3 of the health. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's one of my wildcard picks. I really like Dragon Breath. I like Aqua Tail against Bastion, against Steelix. It still ends up losing those matches, but at least does a huge chunk of damage and kind of plays that more middle ground role.
Yeah.
As this article pointed out, I think in one of my videos, actually I'm not sure if I posted my Dragonair video, but in my video that I was going to post or I didn't post, I talked about like Dragonair being kind of that middle ground perspective where Flygon is going to be that hard counter to, I still have Flygon, but hard counter to Bastion, to Steelix, and then Altaria is going to be the super hard counter to other flyers. Has opportunity to beat Lucario, while Dragonair kind of does okay against all those Pokemon, and has like very few hard counters to it.
Yeah, I completely agree. I was talking with some people this morning exactly about that because I pretty much have my team locked, and the only thing I've been debating on the past couple of days is Altaria or Dragonair. That's like the big toss-up for me, because like you said, it's got greater neutral matchups, and I hate getting locked into a Bastiodon with Altaria because they don't have to shield and they don't have to use charge moves, and they can just farm you, and then you're just like, crap, here comes 2 flamethrowers when I could have used Dragonair, got some more damage off, and then
force them to use a charge move. Force them to burn energy, like either burn energy or burn a shield. Like that's one of the two. Like if Dragonair gets like 3 Aqua Tails off, then you're left with like almost no health left. If they come in with Lucario, you might get 1 flamethrower off, but they're gonna sneak in a counter and feint you, and you've lost a bunch of energy. So but I think Altaria is still a really great Pokemon. And I think Battle Heroes video conveys it really well. It's a really great lead. It's very tanky. Other dragons. Has like a really great move set and move pool. So I think it's still a really great option. But for me, the way I have my team balanced, I just like Dragonair
better,
a little bit more.
Yeah, completely agree there. And then I think probably the other biggest question maybe that people have, besides the whole Lapras, Water Gun, or Ice Shard, I think is Alolan Marowak with Hex or Rock Smash.
Ooh, okay. So I have a Alolan Marowak, and I think it's it's actually one of the Lucario counters that we haven't touched on. Does this article talk about it?
It does, yeah.
Under the countering the sword, which makes sense. So again, like in this meta, I find it's like so polarizing in the sense that like if you run Marowak, if you run Hex, you're running it as a generalist, right?
Yes.
You're gonna run it because it can get to Shadow Ball quicker. You can play Minding between Bone Club or Shadow Ball. Even against like Altaria, against Charizard, against like a lot of other Pokemon that Alolan Marowak would normally lose against, right? But Rock Smash does play a harder counter to Lucario, where Lucario is like, acting really scared when it sees that those like dirt piles come up after the after the fast move, and then as well it does perform better against Bastion.
Yeah.
Because of the double typing move, but it does charge a lot slower. So
Yeah.
for me, it depends on how you want to play. Do you want to play it as a hard counter to Lucario, and yeah, you want to play as a hard counter to Lucario and like a better count, like a less uh, you know, less terrible matchup against Bastion, or do you want it for generalist coverage where it will still be Lucario for the most part? Obviously, there's going to be some mind games that play into it.
Yeah.
So it depends on how you want to play it.
Yep. And so, yeah, that's spot on. And I love Alolan Marowak. He's one of the picks on my team. And I think it's kind of the same sense, like you were saying, as the generalist or the specialist. Kind of like Dragonair's more of a generalist, and then Altaria's more specialized, but then it loses in some matchups. But I love Hex. I know people love Rock Smash, especially against Lucario, but I love Hex because I like storing energy. Because, say he's up against Bastiodon, right? A lead, I got a Alolan Marowak, my opponent is Bastiodon. That Smackdown, yes, it's going to be doing super effective damage, but it's not going to completely eliminate me. So I can store up to a Shadow Ball and then get out. And then that Shadow Ball can come in clutch later, especially if I'm, running into Lucario to get power-up punches off to burn shields, or, Steelix doing Earthquakes. Or it brings a lot of flexibility. And there was a battle that I had against Vaporized today, where he performed to a T. I haven't gotten him to perform to the way that I wanted until this morning, and it really just highlighted him where he basically, I swapped him in, or I brought him in after a knockout, used a Shadow Ball and one-shot one of his Pokemon, and then built up energy, swapped him back out, and it just kind of used him to sweep everything but Bastiodon. So I like running Hex when it comes to Alolan Marowak, but like you said, it's all based on what your team needs. And if you need that extra coverage against Lucario, then Rock Smash is probably going to be what you want to go with.
Yeah, for sure. If you just want to come in, throw those haymakers, right? Those Rock Smash haymakers, right?
Yeah.
And do as much damage as possible with those fast moves against the very specific matchups that you're going to line up. If you're confident, you can line up these matchups as the lead or as a switch in.
Yeah.
Certainly, it's really great.
Yeah.
But Hex just gives so much flexibility.
Oh, it does, and then it also
Shadow
Shadow
Ball can almost one shot this entire meta. Shadow Ball is really interesting typing because there's almost nothing. I can't even think of something right now that a meta relevant or even slightly off meta relevant Pokemon that resists Shadow Ball.
Yeah, it's either going to be neutral or pretty much super effective to everything, and if it's neutral and you're squishy, you're done. So yeah. And another reason why I like going Hex is Frostlass users. So I Frostlass has always been the little stormy cloud over me at tournaments and battles, where it's just I always can barely not beat it because it just gets those moves off so fast. So I think having Steelix, Charizard, Alolan Marowak with Hex really locks down that thorn in my heel that I've had for so long. And I don't know if that's just superstitious pick, but I'm just Frostlass users stay away from me because I got 3 counters for you. So
yeah. Frostlass, if used correctly, can definitely do a ton of damage. Right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Avalanche is so devastating to this meta. And then obviously Shadow Ball, you can play mind games a little bit with Frostlass because I think it's only 1 extra Power Stone to get to Shadow Ball. So you're really playing some mind games with some people. Frostlass is probably a little bit less relevant in this cup than in previous ones where it qualified. But because Ice is resisted more in this meta. But certainly can be still really useful. So
yeah. Absolutely.
And then I've seen some people run both regular Ninetales and alone Ninetales as really thing off meta picks, mostly because of Psyshock hitting for neutral damage for a lot of the meta. Obviously not against Bastion or Malmetal or I guess Bronzon as well.
Yeah.
I think it's a really interesting pick. I think a lot of people in the not the PvP Discord are really hyped about Bronzon. Have you had a chance to?
So I haven't. I don't have one. I won't be able to use one. I've kind of seen what he can do, and it's really interesting because it's just like it's a super sleeper. Like I faced him without realizing that he was a thing, and I was facing with Lucario. I'm just like, well, I'm Lucario, I got this. And it was just like, wait a second, he did a lot more damage to me. I still took out the Bronzong, but he took me to like no health. And I was just like,
for sure.
Okay, well, I gotta figure out how to, deal with this thing, because people will obviously use it, and it's like a sleeper wild card that people might not be prepared for, which is another reason why I'm running Steelix. Like, Steelix all day with that crunch. So
for sure. Well, Bronzon can deal with the dragon.
Yes.
Pretty easily.
Yep.
Against like Dragonair. Maybe Flygon it probably has a little bit harder matchup with. And then obviously Confusion. Confusion is a really great move. It's kind of like 4 times slower, 4 times the stat version of Dragon Breath in terms of its stats and output. It's smooth. Its charge moves are okay. Like Heavy Flame is okay. Psychic is going to hit a lot for great neutral damage. Obviously, it does end up losing to Lucario. So if you're looking as a Lucario counter, it's like kind of like similar to that Skarmory type play. Where it has a lot of situations to a Bronzong, and then as well as Charizard and a few other ones, but people will easily get confused with its typing, or confused on how necessarily to deal with it. So I think it's gonna I definitely could see a lot of tweets coming out where the people are gonna tell us that Bronzon was their MVP.
100%. Yeah.
It's because it's gonna be really as Confusion's really great, and its typing is interesting.
Yes.
And gives a lot of really interesting coverage.
Yeah, completely agree, because it's just there's so much instant reflex knowledge that you need to have when it comes to these battles, that if you don't know about how to handle Bronzong, he could mess up the whole match for you, and then you just lost because of that, So
okay, so here's a question that someone's having.
Yep.
Celio or Gemma Banks, who's a really good channel.
Yep.
Well.
Hi, Gemma.
So check them out.
Yeah.
Gemma,
I know Gemma.
Hi. You ready? So someone's asked like Celio or Lapras. Gemma Banks responded Lapras.
Yep.
And I think Lapras is ultimately the right answer. But Celio is could be a reasonable alternative as well.
Yeah.
One, it beats Lapras 1v1. Right?
Yep.
Which is a real thing, right? And then as well, it has some mind games with most people are going to run Water Pulse.
Yeah.
Some people could run Aurora Beam for that dragon type coverage, especially if they're running a Water Gun version. So I could see someone running. What is Gamefreak recommend? Okay, it recommends Powder Snow. So it recommends Powder Snow, Body Slam, Water Pulse. I could also see someone running Water Gun, Body Slam, Aurora Beam. It probably won't get to the Aurora Beam, but so Powder Snow, Body Slam, Water Pulse makes sense.
Yeah.
And you can certainly play a lot of mind games. It's going to hit for really great neutral damage to Lucario.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that people love to shield their Lucario, right? That's
yeah.
the thing, right?
People will shield Lucario when it's got, a 20th of its health. Yeah. Just shield it. But the thing is like that it sounds hilarious, but if you have maybe 3 power-up punches running, and his last Pokemon's Bastiodon, right, and you shield it to survive, that one hit on Bastiodon can do like a quarter of his health. So it might be worth it. Yeah.
a double resist Smackdown. And like I've watched some videos where I'm like, you should definitely shield in Lucario there. I know it's like really low on health, but you already know that their last Pokemon is Bastiodon and your last Pokemon is Charizard, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
so you definitely should shield because like Charizard's not going to do anything, right?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
it's gonna when your last Pokemon's going to lose to fast moves, you might as well use your shield on your second last Pokemon.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
so like certainly like Body Slam is not going to do very much to Lucario, so that's not something you should shield, right? But like you just play mind games with it, right?
Yeah.
Like because people will like instantly shield, right? Like they see a charge move coming, they'll instantly shield their Lucario, which is for in 95% of situations is going to be the right move. But you can certainly take advantage of that potential with Celia with Body Slam.
Yeah, 100% agree. And I think so just like Frostlass, Celio has been a thorn in my heel where it's just like especially with Powder Snow, and in this tournament it's viable to run Body Slam with either Water Pulse or Aurora Beam. And it's like so especially with Celio loves to be a lead, and I think it's utilized best as a lead because swapping into it doesn't have the effect of early game forcing shields. So like a lead with Celio, and so you're counting the moves, and I don't really count by like taps. I just reference my own energy build to theirs, so I know that if I'm Altaria, right, and I'm seeing Celio attacking me, and my Altaria is getting close to Sky Attack, and he's Powder Snow, I know for sure he's past Body Slam, but is that Water Pulse or Aurora Beam? And if he builds up and then he fires something at me, I'm like, okay, I got a shield here, because if it's Aurora Beam, I'm screwed. I just lost.
Yeah.
So then I shield, and then it's a Body Slam. I'm like, okay, so maybe he's going to do another Body Slam, and then, he comes in with another move, and then I shield again, and maybe it's Water Pulse. And it's like, okay, all right, next game, I know he doesn't have Aurora Beam, but the threat of Aurora Beam is just like, or the threat of Water Pulse on the flip side. It's like, well, what does he have? I don't know. And Powder Snow being able to get to it so fast. But I do prefer Lapras over Celio. And Lapras, I think it's...
And the question with Lapras is, do you run Water Gun or do you run an Ice Period?
So I run what I have, which is Ice Shard, Ice Beam, Surf, Lapras. That's the only Legacy Lapras I have. And because I don't have Bastiodon, he's kind of there to fulfill that, counter that Altaria, counter that Dragonair kind of role. But I would say if you have both options ready to go, you got a Water Gun, Ice Beam, Surf, or maybe Water Gun, Dragon, Pulse, Surf, and then the Ice Shard with the Legacies. I think it's based on what your team has. So maybe, say you have Steelix, maybe running Water Gun Lapras would be better, because Steelix can cover that Altaria, and then based on what the enemy has, you'd be able to cover that Blaziken a lot better than Ice Shard would.
Certainly. Yeah, for sure. I think I think that's like an absolute correct assessment. I think they end up serving different purposes, and I think you have to look at the synergies of your team to see what makes sense. For you. For myself, I run Lapras with Ice Shard because I do want it to be that Dragon Killer. And initially, when I did my initial Kingdom Cup analysis, this is very early on, looking at PvP, I'm like, oh, it looks like you want to run Water Gun, right? Because you don't want to hit for neutral damage against these steel Pokemon. You want to take care of all these fire Pokemon. And then I actually watched a video by Dragon Silk, one of the top PvP trainers in Toronto.
Yeah.
And I watched this video, and I think it was actually about something else, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he's just talking about like, I'm gonna bring Lapras as the Dragon Killer. I'm like, oh, okay, and that's fair. Like that's kind of the purpose that I'm running with. So certainly that video and discussion changed my mind. But I think Water Gun. There's certainly times where I'm like, oh man.
Like the mirror match. Right? Like the mirror match. I'm like, oh no.
god, right? What am I gonna do?
Yeah.
You're going up against Blaziken, right? And you're like, oh man, like
Yep.
introducing these ice shards, right? I could be like just pummeling it with water guns right now. Obviously, you're gonna get to surf earlier.
Yep.
But if they have shields up, like, and they like, yeah, like it's just a totally different scenario.
It's a totally
so
different game. Yeah. Yeah.
On how you want to play it.
Yeah.
For sure. But like, I read on the Stealth Arena. I forgot whose post it was. On one of the posts, on one of the videos, they talked about like how like they compared Ice Shard and Water Gun, and Ice Shard is like a strictly better move, as in terms of damage and energy. I think it's slightly more energy, same amount of damage, and then you end up like gaining a lot on a lot of matchups, and then losing a lot in maybe like the critical matchups that you were initially looking for, like against Charizard, Blaziken. Like maybe it's shields against with Lucario, and then as well with a water gun variant, you have the opportunity to beat a Bastion, which I think is like really critical. Thing to think about when you're running a Lapras, right? Like if you're running an Ice Shard version, you know these Ice Shards are going to get resisted by Bastion, but these water guns in a one shield scenario will allow you to beat Bastion, which is pretty critical.
Yeah.
And then as well, since it's not Legacy, not that Laprases are super common.
Yeah.
But they were. Where they were in Southwest.
Yeah.
There's an opportunity to get a better IV version of a Lapras versus like most Lapras. Even mine is a lucky and not necessarily the best like stat product combination. So pros and cons. It depends on how you want to play. I think both are viable.
Yep.
Just serve different
roles. Yeah, exactly. If we could just take a quick break, you know, I'll be right back in like 2 minutes. Yeah.
Oh sure. Yeah. No problem.
Okay. All right.
No problem. Ask me questions in the meantime. How do you guys like this streaming format? Hopefully you guys, this is like, it took me like all day to figure out the setup here, so hopefully you guys can appreciate it. I think this is going to be, for the most part, the setup I'm going to use going forward for my live stream. I think it's like a little bit more interactive. We'll see how the gameplay is. Like I have done some like, you know, trainer cup battles and whatnot, but yeah, a little bit different. Like can show, like especially on some of my live streams, I like, you know, after a match, I'll be like, oh, okay, should I have run this? Should I have done that? Like I think an important component in the last video was actually show it here. If like Lucario versus Charizard. Dragon Claw, and if
okay, I'm back.
I'm just showing something quickly to my viewers. Actually, something that I was telling people a lot. If you end up having the energy advantage coming into a Charizard, and you have like no shield left, I've seen too many people settle for Power Up Punch when there's like no shield left. They've like got off a couple of counters. They have the energy advantage.
Yeah.
But you got to go for the shot. The Shadow Ball's gonna KO.
Yeah. You gotta try to go for that, because Dragon Claw's not gonna kill you. It's gonna do a lot of damage, but it's not gonna one shot you. So.
Yeah, you just gotta not be nervous. Like seeing your health go dramatically down. Like I think it's like 17 damage per first fire spin.
Yeah.
Like you know, 16% of your health every fire spin. You gotta not be worried about it. And go for the win. So like, if you end up having Lucario in your back end, and it's like KO the second Pokemon, then certainly go for it.
Yeah, I think it's a Steelix mentality that I have. It's like go big or go home. Like go for that Earthquake, because if they don't shield, it's just like it's bye. But yeah, so I got a question on my side.
Sure.
Do we really need? This is from Fuely PS. Do we really need Ice type in this team? Their job can be done by other top picks.
I don't think it's 100% necessary
Yeah.
to run an ice type. Like I think there are alternatives like Steelix.
Yep.
For example, like ice types like have flexibility because they obviously deal with the dragons very well. Then but they also deal with Charizard and Blaziken as well because of their water moves, which is something that the dragon counters will have a hard time dealing with.
Yeah.
Depends on what you run. Like if you run like a Melmetal is the one. Like Melmetal can deal with a lot of dragons. You can also deal with Charizard, assuming that they don't have shields, and which is like more of a late game play. And they assume they don't have shields, and they don't have like too big of an energy against you because those Fire Spins are gonna hurt, but that Rock Slide is gonna one shot Charizard.
Yeah, so, and absolutely. And I think from hearing,
think about the coverage.
Yeah, so I think ice types, just like you said, they're not necessary because other Pokemon fulfill that role, especially with Smackdown being able to cover a lot. But I think you and I both, I think we have similar lineups. I'm not exactly sure, but listening to what you're saying, we both have the only ice we have is Ice Shard Lapras. So we're not running a Ninetales, we're not running a Frostlass. But yeah, so I don't think it's necessary to, have an Alolan Ninetales and a Lapras with Ice Beam. But obviously it's what you have available to use.
Yeah, certainly. I think depends on what you have available. Ice is useful, right? Because it's going to take huge chunks out of Flygon and huge chunks out of Altaria and do like good damage against Dragonair. But not 100% necessary.
Yeah.
There's very few things that are 100%
necessary. I think Lucario is necessary.
Lucario's probably the hardest one to because
and I think
it's just very hard to play.
And I think the last thing that we haven't talked about before we get into battles, people are like demanding blood in my chat. The last thing we haven't talked about is probably the biggest upset I had when this tournament was first announced because I love Kingdra. And then just seeing how it actually played out, I'm just really upset that it's not as useful, I should say. So, I don't know. I was really banking on Kingdra, but it's not as good as Dragonair or Altaria in that sense. And then water gun wise, it's not as good as Lapras, so.
Yeah, certainly. I think the biggest thing holding back Kingdra is probably its charge moves. They're like energy efficient charge moves: Outrage, Hydro Pump, Blizzard, whatnot. But like the problem is like it just takes way too long to get to charge them, and Kingdra is too squishy to make it viable.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like certainly, you can play it. Waterfall is probably the preferred move because it's like very unlikely that you're gonna get to. But it does hit for like a lot of good neutral damage against Lucario.
Yeah.
And then as well hits for super effective damage against Bastion, and doesn't necessarily have the weaknesses that other like water users would have, like Lapras or like a Celio, etc. So there's some viabilities against it, but it certainly gets hurt because of its charge moves and its like squishiness.
Yeah, 100% agree. So, you want to get into some battles?
You ready to get some battles?
Yeah. Oh my goodness.